And those were your commodities updates. Let's zoom in straight to our very first story, and we are beginning from Parliament because they have set up an 8-member committee to investigate calls for Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta to be sacked. The committee, according to the Speaker, Alban Gbagben, will be chaired by Dominic Ayeni and Katie Hammond. Now, the committee has 7 days to present a report to the House. Joining us live from Parliament is JoyNews Parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante. Kweku, grateful you could join us on Business Live. Now, help us get a sense of what the investigation will entail.
So, for the next 7 days, the key issues that were raised by the minority to support that censure motion will now be looked into by this 7-member committee. We know that the NPP has significant concerns. They said some of those allegations bordered on criminality, and if for nothing at all, these are issues that must be thoroughly looked at before a decision can be taken. But we also know that the one sticking point for this conversation was whether or not the finance minister will be represented and heard at all. We know that if the finance minister elects that a lawyer should be the one to represent him, that lawyer cannot have audience on the floor of the House, because according to the standing orders and other such regulations, only MPs, ministers, the president and the vice president have audience in the House. And so if he picked a lawyer who was not already an MP, that lawyer will not be granted audience in the House. That went to the core of the argument that was made by the Deputy Majority Leader, Alexander Fenyo-Markin, who argued about representation and how all that should pan out. So clearly the Speaker of Parliament is ruling now that this 8-member committee, which is to be co-chaired by a member on the majority side, Katie Hammond, as well as a member on the minority side, a former Deputy Attorney General, Dominic Ayeni, will have to look into these issues and report back to the House in 7 days. And so next 2 weeks, this taking point will be back in the House, where members of Parliament will now have to take a decision. That will be very close as well to the 2024-23 budget, which is set to be presented around 23rd, 24th. So, I mean, very interesting days ahead. But clearly, as you saw there in the debate, the chief whip on the minority side, Muntaka Mubarak, was not very happy with the ruling of the Speaker. Indeed, challenging the Speaker directly on the floor, the Speaker had to shut him down, and the Speaker actually said that it will be very difficult for him to catch his eye in the coming days.
Kweku, help us understand, within this 7 days period, who qualifies to testify or otherwise say that indeed the finance minister is really the cause of the problem? Kindly walk us through who and who can testify before the committee.
So what is expected to happen, Paul, is that this 8-member committee will have to sit, the Parliament, the leadership of Parliament will give them exactly what their terms of reference are. But the key is that they have to look into the specific 7 issues. If you look at the other paper, there are 7 key issues that the minority raised against the finance minister: conflict of interest, gross mismanagement, incompetence, ineptitude. These are all issues that the committee will be looking into, and the finance minister himself will be invited to appear before the committee. What I'm expecting is that as early as today or tomorrow, the clerk to this committee will be writing to the finance minister to prepare his defense and to appear before this committee to open up his defense in terms of responding directly to the issues and the allegations that have been leveled against him by the NDC minority in this censure motion. So the committee will look at the totality of this evidence and then make a recommendation to the House that these are the facts that we investigated, this is what we are recommending. Then the House will debate that and then finally take a decision on this. We know clearly that the minority MP, some of them, including the minority chief whip and a former majority leader, Pious Kojo Backah, were not happy with the Speaker's decision, because they said when it comes to censure motions, there is nothing having to do with setting up any committee, and that only has to do with the impeachment of the president. The Speaker overruled them, and so we've only heard now from the majority side, who say they are excited by the ruling of the Speaker and vindicates the positions they've made. Currently speaking, the minority are locked up in the chamber, having a meeting. I mean, it's expected to chart the course in terms of what they're expecting to be done in the coming days and what they will be doing now that the Speaker has made this ruling. We don't know if they will probably decide to challenge by a substantive motion the ruling of the Speaker. We are expecting that they will come and address the media. We are all set up here waiting for them. But the ball is now in the court of this 8-member committee, fairly and evenly divided between the NPP and majority sides in Parliament, 4-4 apiece, and they have to look into these key issues that the minority have raised against the Finance Minister and report back to the House.
Now, we also do know that the minority, through the the MP for Ningo Pram Sam George, proposed that the committee's investigation be telecast live. What was the Speaker's response?
Indeed, not much has been said about that, but the Speaker and the leadership of the House will have to make a determination in terms of what exactly this will be done. But given that the first aspect of this censure motion debate has been live telecast on TV, it would be very much interesting if the Speaker and the leadership decide that this should not be live telecast. But ultimately, this is a decision the committee leadership, KT Hammond and Dominic Ayini, will have to take together with leadership of Parliament, the majority minority leaders, as well as the Speaker of Parliament. But we are expecting that the committee will begin sitting as soon as next week, because they only have 7 days to report back to the House.
And let me find this from you. In all of this, who is the minority proposing to occupy the seat of Ken Ofori-Atta if they are successful with getting the minister out of office? Do we know?
So the minority haven't mentioned names now. Indeed, when the minority leader was on his feet on the floor, he said the NPP government has always said that we have the men, we have the men. So where are the men? Is it that it's only Ken Ofori-Atta that can lead the financing of this country, so much so that the president does not want to relieve him of his duty? They haven't put any names out, but they are pulling the ball in the court of the president, that if he said the NPP has the men, then it should be easy to take out Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta and get equally competent hands to manage affairs. So we are just seeing the minority file out from that meeting that they had in the chamber. We've just seen a lot of them now stepping out. Clearly, they are not coming to address the media. But let me try and see if I can get one or two of them to speak to us about whatever they are agreed on. Leader, we are live on JoyNews. I mean, Leader, we are live on JoyNews. I mean, in terms of what exactly you decided, can we have any idea about what you want to be seen done?
To see Ken Ofori-Atta go. So nothing more. We just want to see Ken Ofori-Atta go. So bid him farewell and bye-bye. I don't comment on this matter. All
right, so that is the minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, leading his members to file out of the meeting, saying that they are not commenting on the substantive details, those comments and the agreements they had from that meeting. Just when the House resumed, a number of the NDC MPs were locked up in the chamber having a meeting. We are now seeing them leave the chamber, now head to the Job 600, their individual offices. But clearly now that the minority leader himself is not speaking, it's difficult to get other individual MPs to speak. But clearly, you look at the demeanor of the MPs coming out, they are not very much happy. Honorable Kojo Backah, the former majority, like you sought to challenge the Speaker's decision to refer this to a committee. He says you are out of order.
Oh, well, the Speaker has the final say, but I don't think that I was certainly not out of order. But when he's our father, when he talks, you have to accept the situation. But you read the Constitution, you read the standing orders. There's a difference between the removal of a president, a speaker or a speakership, and then a minister. And like I cited, Article 82 and then Order 108 of the standing orders limit ourselves to the issue of this removal of the minister. On those two provisions, the Constitution and the standing orders, there's no provision for a committee. He referred to Order 106. If you read Order 106 carefully, it says that this is all, and the all is saying that if a member moves a motion on the floor, that there should be a committee set to investigate. Did any member move a motion? So where did he have that?
So will you advise your leadership to challenge the Speaker by substantive motion?
No, we don't intend to. In any case, the country is already having beleaguered with challenges. We don't need to add more. There's a committee in place. Like I also indicated, what are the terms of the committee, the terms of reference of the committee? You cannot have the committee without terms of reference. and that is absent. And that is because it is a grey area, it's a new area. And I don't think that we needed to form the committee. My position is that once the motion was moved and seconded, we will open it to debate. And then we'll go into the secret ballot. And if the ballot came to the 2/3, we refer him to the president. And the president has a discretion as to remove him or not. That is the procedure, simple as. This committee, what are they coming? They are going to investigate what? They'll talk to him, then he'll present his case, and then what next? Are they going to invite people about the Bank of Ghana and then about other financial institutions, extra, about this? That is a challenge. Thank you.
So you had a deputy majority leader, Pious Kojo Backah. He used to lead the NDC in Parliament, a former majority leader actually. So I've just seen the NDC national chairman, Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, is around. I'm trying to get something from him. Chairman, good evening. We are live on JoyNews. I mean, why did you have to come here, Chairman?
Oh, why?
Okay, so Chairman clearly do not want to respond to those specific concerns. But we also saw here the General Secretary as well as the Chairman of the New Patriotic Party. Ofosu-Ampofo is also here as Chairman of the NDC. He's just finished this meeting with members of his caucus. But very, very interesting days ahead. The chatter we are picking from the minority MPs is that they are not so happy with the decision of the Speaker, but they've just decided to allow things be and to see what the committee will do. And in the next 7 days for this to get back to the House for a debate and an action to be taken. But Ken Ofori-Atta now has some 7 days of breathing space, of which he can be allowed to appear before this committee, canvass his position, and the House will ultimately take a decision. Pious. So, very, KG perspective out there in Parliament.
Kweku Asante for that comprehensive report from Parliament there. You still...